Eastern Kentucky, where I was raised, where the wildlife and mountains call my name. I was born to hunt, I was born to guide, a camouflage on a rifle by my side. Just good old country boys chasing dreams in the Appalachian Mountains, fields and streams. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks they're on the run. Where those dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. The coyotes run all night. It's music to my ears and in my sights. I've got this hunting fever down in my bones. Glad my daddy taught me everything I know. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks they're on the run. Where dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks they're on the run. Where dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name. The TLC Outfitter is our name.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday night. Welcome to On Air and Outdoors with TLC Outfitters. Glad y'all can join us. If you're not done so, please like and share this feed. Get the word out there about all things on air and outdoors with TLC Outfitters. As always, my name's Trinity. We've got with us tonight Mr. Matt Woolwine, Ben Moore. Fellas, thank you for taking time to be with us tonight.
Yeah, man.
No problem, man. We can't see Matt, or I can't.
You can't see Matt? I can see him, babe. How can you miss something like that?
I don't know.
Hey, buddy.
I can hear him, though.
Yeah. Uh-oh, you breaking up a little bit on us, man. Right out of the gate, folks. We're having a little technical difficulty. Can't see. Uh-oh, we can't see Matt. You got a couple people.
Oh, what the deal is.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, buddy. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you very much. Hope everybody had a great weekend and was able to enjoy a little bit and get out. Man, Ben, I'll tell you what, we're seeing a lot of harvest come through, over 2 weeks of we've seen some elk harvest. We've seen a lot of deer harvest. We've had, early goose season in and a lot of things. Things has been going pretty good, been firing up in the outdoors.
Yeah, I think that this weather that's kind of cooling off in the evenings, days are getting a little bit shorter, and everything's starting to move around a little better.
Yeah. Folks, let us know if you can see Matt. I think he may get lined out there, so let us know if y'all can see Matt. We got some folks with us tonight. Gator Paul, the countdown is on. Gator Paul, the countdown is on. We are about, what is today?
3 weeks.
Yep, we're about 3 weeks. Florida bound, buddy. 3 weeks. Can't wait, man. Can't wait to get down there and see you all. Our number one fan, my mama says hello. And Charlene's Harless says hello. Matthew Andrews want to know if we paid the electric bill.
It ain't the electric bill, buddy. It's the internet out here where we live.
Yeah. Scott, man, we'll see you week 2, brother. I think you're going to hit it right. cameras, everything been firing up, boy. I tell you, man, it's going to be a good deal. Going to be a good deal. Charlene, I think Nathan's out scouting this evening. He called me while he was out, and right off the bat, they got right into some elk signs. So they's out set some cameras and scouting pretty hot and heavy in their unit this evening. So, fellas, I tell you what, we're getting excited. We had a hard 2 weeks of elk season, and we checked the telecheck harvest today. I want you all to tell me what your thoughts are, or take a guesstimate on how many elk in 2 weeks of archery season were harvested in telecheck.
Well, I know the answer, so
you already looked it up.
I already looked it up.
Matt, what do you think?
I know the answer too, roughly, and it's not real impressive. Let's just say that it's not real.
Tough couple of weeks there with the weather and the way everything played out there. It was a tough couple of weeks of elk hunting.
Jason Kilgore's partially right. They were 35 bulls harvested and 10 cows. There's 45 elk harvested out of 175 archers.
Yeah.
Matthew Andrews said, I'll splice fiber. I'll come see you soon, and I'll be down for a second bowl with Chris Meade. That boy is a trip. Man, listen. I told you. You knew. Listen, I told you, man. I told you for in the truck down there or up here in the driveway that day. But I appreciate, man. We're looking forward to have you and the missus back very much. Thank you for coming our way. We're pretty excited.
Hey, Trent. Touching back on them harvest numbers, though. I think harvest success rate last year for the state, wasn't it around 40 to 45%, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And if you run 45 into 175, that's roughly 45%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right back on it.
So, it's still, if you're getting if you're matching your harvest ratio during your archery season, it's not as bad as it feels like it was. Because during gun season, that's going to go up some.
Yeah. If a lot of our archers had firearms, they would have at least, slung some lead and whatever. I mean, our overall ratio wasn't too bad. I mean, it is actually pretty impressive compared to years past. So I'm actually, got a lot of high hopes for the upcoming seasons. The cameras and everything have been going off like crazy the past 2 days. And I think that we're going to hit a really good firearm season. I'm really excited.
I compared the first 2 weeks of the archery season kind of like the October lull in deer hunting. I mean, it's that time right before the rut. They're not getting in the swing and not moving much. The acorns were down. They're not coming out in the opens much. And with how dry it been, we had no shot of getting into those elk in the timber and without blowing them off of the property that we can hunt. So it was kind of meticulous, but we ended up at least providing a couple opportunities.
That's right.
If you've never hunted the mountains of eastern Kentucky, it gets pretty crunchy on them. It gets pretty crunchy in there on those hardwood ridges,
That's right. Tyler Smith said tuned in from 40601.
I believe that's old Frankfort area.
Appreciate you, Tyler, brother. Hope to see you soon, man. I've talked to a lot of different hunters, and people get these different pictures painted for them with the way that Kentucky elk hunting is. Sometimes people will go off of a lot of different things. Everything here that we do, I mean, we just tell you like it is. I don't have anything to hide. Whether we harvest a 200-pound elk, or we harvest 1,000-pound elk, or we harvest a spike, or we harvest a 10 by 10. I mean, I just give it to you the way that it is. And at best, it's tough. And you throw in there archery equipment and early season, one of the best acorn years I've ever seen. Elk moving at night. I've never seen elk as nocturnal as they have been over the past few weeks. And not necessarily that they're nocturnal, but I think they were moving more out into the open at night, laying in the ridges during the day, hardwoods. But it's tough at best. And those days of pre 2012 are over. It's over. And I've talked to so many people, man, that come down here and they're already whipped before they ever get down here because they want to live in days of old, or they want to go off of, well, I know this and I know that. Well, how many times have you hunted Kentucky elk? Well, I've not. Well, then you don't know. If I went off of everything everybody told me, well, we'd never kill an elk. And that's what I hope hunters understand. This is a big part of our livelihood. I mean, we've been 18 years strong, and this is very important to us. We don't take this lightly, and it's tough. And we've got some of the best guides in the business. So we hunt them hard. We're going to get after them. But now I'm telling you what I've seen over the past 2 to 3 days has got me very excited for this upcoming bull firearm season.
Hey, Trendy.
Yeah, I think
Ben locked up on us now.
I can still see you.
There you go. Go ahead, Ben. What was you saying?
I said I think it's going to hit right for us there. It's seeming like this weather's coming at a good time, and with the days getting shorter, it just seems like the shorter the days get, the more the movement.
I agree with you. What was you saying, Matt?
I was going to ask you to touch a little bit on our success for the archery season. What we have 9 or 10 archers for
10.
the 2,
Yeah.
And just kind of touch base on visuals that we laid eyes on, plus harvest, plus wound loss shots. Kind of give an update on that, because yes, I mean, we want to put elk in the back of people's trucks, and we all want them to be 400-inch elk. I mean, let's just get that out there. I mean, that'd be a great story. But the fact is that it is a tough hunt. But touch a little bit on how successful we were as far as just being there, knowing that you're in the right areas. And we didn't close the distance to 30 yards so we could get a shot, but we were in there, in amongst them, and we had opportunities, or we at least, that's a big thing for me. No matter what I'm hunting, I don't necessarily care to come home with something as long as I know I'm in the right spot and I had the opportunity to come home with something.
Yeah. So we had 10 archers over the season. That's over 2 weeks. And we had a couple in that was late, trying to help them out. But we had 2 harvests. We had a wound loss, and that's 3. And then we had 4 opportunities, and opportunities / passes. And then we had 3 that were in. The last guy that we hunted with, was covered up with elk. Or covered up with sign. New sign, rubs, tracks, everything. And the guy was really, really excited and thought, that, hey, this is it. And it just didn't pan out. The bulls didn't show up. The cows, there was some cows there and everything. But, we've got our stuff where we're bringing people back in December. So, 7 out of 10 hunters either harvested, wound loss, or had an opportunity. And that's pretty good.
Talking about that opportunity, we had 4 people say that's not the animal that I'm wanting. Yes, I could make a shot, but that's not the animal that I'm here for. And so if you consider that, we had 7 out of 10 hunters could have took an elk home.
That's right. Yeah. So not too bad, can it be better? It most definitely can be better. But it's, it's tough. So, I'm looking forward, and you put a firearm in these archers' hands. It's a different ball game. Harvest / wound loss is going to be much higher. So,
Yeah.
Jacob Stevens coming to hunt with us. Said bringing on this weekend. Looking forward to meet TLC. Man, Jacob, man, we're excited to have you down. Also, another one, Dylan Blair right here. The closest Saturday is getting, the more I'm dreaming. That's right, man. We're excited. And then one of our past hunters, and you can see his bull in his profile picture, said, you still putting monsters out of Unit 4. Jason, Unit 4 is still a great unit, man. It's a little bit different than when you were down here, but there's still some good elk coming out of Unit 4. So we're pretty excited. We got some of our guys on here: Chris May, Corey Black, Corey Terry.
I want to take a second just to thank the hunters, past and future, present, whatever you want to say, for tuning in and seeing what we got to say.
Yeah.
These are relationships that we build out there in the field while we're doing this, and we certainly appreciate you guys tuning in and your interaction, through the video here. That's what it's all about, and hopefully you'll stick with us from now on.
Yeah. Did you see JB on here from Somerset, 42503?
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate you, JB, joining us tonight, and everybody else too. Thank you very much. Before and let's take a little break for a minute. Ben, let's talk about you for a minute, buddy. So, we've been kind of keeping track of your food plots. We've showed a lot of your bear stuff. I hope everybody is tuned in to Wolf Pen Hunt Club on YouTube, checking out everything on there for Wolf Pen and TLC. But, man, I tell you what, there's nothing better in the world for me to be going about my business in the evening time and see that phone ring, and it's a FaceTime. I got one from little Hunter Harless a couple of weeks ago, and then I got one from Ben. And let's take a look at this picture right here. So this is one of Ben's trail cam pictures right here. And I have to tell you, man, they're my favorite. They ain't nothing like a big 8-point to me. It is just, to me, I think they're phenomenal. Big mainframe, heavy rack, long beam 8. And you've been watching this deer for some time, haven't you?
Yeah, since last year. He broke a G2 last year, and I passed him.
And you can look at that body, man. You can look at that. I mean, look what a snout on that thing. Look, I mean, that's a healthy deer right there from belly to back. I mean, that's a stud mountain buck right there. And thankfully, you was able to send him to that happy hunting ground on high, man. Look there, what a harvest. That is awesome. And in that big food plot we've been talking about.
Yeah. Had done the trick.
Yeah. So congratulations, man. We're really excited. I'm thankful I got that call, brother, and just an awesome harvest right there.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of wind.
Yeah. What, Matt?
What'd you say, Matt?
Food plot you killed the turkey in, Ben?
Yeah. Actually, the just a little backstory on it there. The turkey hunt last Sunday when I got to harvest the turkey, is really what led me to kill that deer. I went in there that morning after that deer thinking that I was smarter than he was, and he proved to me that I wasn't. So after I killed the turkey, and I wanted to know why the deer wouldn't come in. They've been living in there, and so I decided to go for a walk midday, and it was raining, so I figured that would cover up a little sound me getting through the timber. And I seen where these deer had exited the food plot through the night and where the direction that they were heading. So I take off walking through some hinge cuts and stuff that I had done, and I realized that I created the perfect bedding area for him to be there on a southeast wind or southwest wind to where he can bed up and watch where I park my four-wheeler. So I'm parking my four-wheeler 300-400 yards away, and he is bedded to where he can see that. So I went in there after him 3 times and didn't realize that he was watching me the whole time, and I never seen a deer. And so that took me to, well, where are they bedding when the wind is coming out of the opposite direction? So I went back to the food plot and lined my compass up, and I look, and 35 yards behind that fence line you see right there, there's a secondary point that's got a couple white oaks on it and a bur oak. There's a bunch of honeysuckle and greenbrier, and I found 2 big buck beds in that to where he can see my blind. So I waited. I got that trail camera picture that morning at 6:50 a.m. And whenever he exited the field, he exited in the opposite direction. So I looked at the wind, and then I ended up taking off that day at work and going in there with the wind blowing to try to keep my scent away from him, and had to get within 30 yards of his bed to get into the blind. So, and when I got into the blind and got in there and settled in, I just kept peeking out the back window, and I could see him and the other buck that was with him in their beds laying there. So I sat there from 2:30 to 7:30 when he finally come out, and I had an opportunity at him. So those bucks, just when you think you got them figured out, that's they can really whip you. I don't know if I wouldn't have went looking for that bed, I don't know that I'd have killed that deer this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty awesome, man. Way to go, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah. Matt and I was talking about this weekend about, taking notice of the wind. It's just like with these elk, man. Everything, I don't care how scent free you are, you're not scent free enough.
Yeah.
And when you're archery hunting, it's pretty tough, and you're not going to fool these things most of the time. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that there isn't sometimes that you do, or some products and things like that, but it's pretty tough to do that. Now, you're not the only one, big boy, with some luck. Us old Preston burgers down here know how to put the hammer down on some early geese too. So he's able to get out and take a morning to go hunt, and we had a good morning. We should have had a 4-man limit. I'll chalk that one up to. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna chalk up my bad shooting to Matt not letting me get my gun out at dove season, practicing a little bit and pulling the trigger. But you know what? 8 birds in one morning ain't too bad.
That's pretty good.
I'll tell you what I'm disappointed in. All I've heard is how much you love that muzzleloader shotgun hunting and muzzleloader this, and I'm going to go traditional. I'm straight Daniel Boone and all this stuff, and I'll guarantee you that old flintlock was not in the truck that morning.
I can't lie, it wouldn't. But you want to know what? As soon as that hunt was over with and we were crawling in the truck, I told him, I said, I cannot believe I didn't bring my muzzleloader shotgun. I am so disappointed.
Believe it. I know how you are. You just talk a big game like your old what's that Laramie Sasquatch, Miller or whatever he is.
Yeah.
You just
Daniel Boone forgot that gun for sure. Nobody asked you, Corey Terry. Lay down. But you got Nathan Harless, you got our buddy Sturgill and Corey Terry and myself right there. Just an awesome morning, man. Awesome morning of goose hunting. You don't get too many mornings like that in Eastern Kentucky, boys. Just don't happen. Let's talk a little bit about this upcoming weekend, man. Ben, what do you think hunters are going to be in store for them? You think going to be a pretty good harvest? What do you think? What do you think's going to happen?
I think that it's lining up to be really good. I'm hoping, we're starting to hear the bugles, and that helps. And these bigger bulls are starting to group these cows up, and it's putting the smaller bulls to where they're traveling a lot. So it seems to me that it's a complete 180 from what we've seen during archery season. In archery season, we were looking for tracks and just fresh tracks is where we could see where an elk might come in and out. And like you were saying, most of that night traveling in the open was in the, at after dark. So now it's kind of looking like that they're starting to stay out longer in the mornings on these cool mornings, and seems like the rut activity is starting to pick up big time. So I think it should be a lot better this weekend than what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else too. We talk about the temperature a lot, but one thing that we don't talk about is the dew.
Yes.
Them heavy dews fall on that vegetation, and them elk can get all the moisture that they need. And it's the same way with deer. You start seeing deer move around this time of year, and I think a lot of it is it makes the browse and the grazing, it makes all that more palatable just because it's got a little moisture to it.
Yep.
And I mean, you start chewing on something that's tough as shoe leather, and tell me how good it is. Then you add a little moisture to it and soften it up a little bit. And it slides down the old gullet a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. And and Corey Black here, our very own Corey Black, says just need them to talk this weekend. That's right, man. When they're not bugling, it's like hunting a ghost, man. These things, a lot of the habitat has changed drastically since the decline of coal mining. You no longer have these nice pruned areas and all that stuff on there. You don't have, unless you're bush hogging these areas. In some of these areas we can't get a bush hog too, but it's pretty tangled up, pretty tough. Just ask Corey Terry where he hunts at right there, and Matt, some of our buddies that he's been with. It's been it's high stepping for sure. So finding these little nooks and crannies where they got that tender vegetation that ain't grown up over top of your head and everything like that, it's pretty tough. So, put on top of that, acorns, if you're not, and I've talked to hunters this week that, they think that all these elk do are graze. Elk aren't just grazers, boys. They're eating acorns, They're looking for that protein. They're looking for that nutrition before this rut, is kicking in hardcore. So, acorns is where it's at. They're gonna get a whole lot more for it. So if you're not hunting the timber or close to the timber, you're not hunting white oaks, chestnut oaks, things like that, you're not seeing many elk. Is that right? Am I right or wrong?
You're right. And that was something that I didn't know, like the red oaks and the chestnut oaks and stuff. I didn't realize that the elk will feed on them so early, but even during the early archery season, I seen plenty of sign under, around red oaks and chestnut oaks that where those elk were actively feeding on them. Usually that's something that a deer, that's last resort, but now they're sure using them. So
yeah, if you think about it though, you got we'll say a 200-pound deer. How many it may not have to fill up on red oaks because it doesn't need quite the energy as an 800-pound elk does. You're talking 4 times the body size, 5 times the body size as a deer, and so they may have to start putting that weight on early. Start eating that whether it's the most palatable thing for them or not. They realize, hey, we better get this thing started because here in a few weeks, we're going to be running all these calories off,
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, elk can lose up to 100 pounds by the time the rut's done, running it off and everything. So it's pretty tough time. I think hunters too need to, I think a lot of times they come down here and they think, man, I got to set up on a water source. I got these things that you see on TV. I got to hunt them that way. That ain't how you hunt Kentucky elk, and you gotta, if what you're doing isn't working, you gotta be willing to change it up a little bit and go where they are and get off the beaten path and cover some ground. So that's what we're going to be doing.
The difference is there's water everywhere in eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
There's so many springs so many hollers and ravines and everything, little creeks. I mean, everything's just running downhill from the top all the time. And so, these elk, of course, they know where all this water is, and you may not see it. You may not see it while you're hunting, but you're probably only covering 100 acres. While if you're hunting hard, you're only covering 100 acres. That elk's covering 1,000 acres or whatever the case is. I mean, they know where that water is.
Yeah, they sure do. And then you take, like we talked about, with everything they get from the visitation, they may not even have to visit a water source, but ever so often. Yeah. So pretty good stuff. I think too that understanding when to push and when not to push. Ben, you alluded to that a little bit earlier. Everybody wants to kill an elk. I want everybody to kill an elk. 594 tags last year, 48% harvest. There wasn't even 300 elk harvested last year. There ain't gonna be some people going home without elk. It's just the facts. But knowing when to push, knowing when not to push is key. You got a bad wind, they're not talking. You got them kind of pegged where they went into the timber. If you caught them out, you blow them elk out. There's not a whole lot of people. I mean, these things can cover 1.5 miles in less than 9 minutes.
Yes.
There's not a lot of people that's got enough land to go 1.5 miles in one direction to be able to chase those things. They don't have permission. They don't have the property to hunt. So keeping those elk, where you've got a handle on them, where you know where they're at, it's very important. So you got to keep that in mind. If you've got thousands of acres to be able to get after them on, then by all means, then you can press it a little bit. But it don't take but just a big enough spot to have permission on where 4 hooves can stand to be able to harvest an animal. And I think sometimes people let that get the best of them, and they'll have a good plan. They'll go in, and then next thing you know, they're one and done. One morning, one evening, one day, they're done because they blow them out.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, especially with the outfitter there. I mean, you guys have a ton of land, ton of permission on a lot of different tracks and stuff like that. I mean, our job as guides is to go in there and find what one of these tracts of land are holding elk. And the best thing we can do is try to protect that at all costs. I mean, I can put you in an area where there's 15 to 20 elk, and we can make one mistake and we might not see another elk for the rest of the time because they moved over here on a piece of private that we don't have permission on. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing, is to protect that and knowing when to go and when to stay. And that's where you got to kind of trust your guide, because if we don't get an opportunity today, we might get an opportunity tomorrow. But if we blow them out and they don't come back, then we're never getting an opportunity.
Yeah. I'll tell you another thing too, man, that I see hunters and even us sometimes we make a bad mistake at is, one thing is when you shoot, these things ain't like deer. You may shoot a whitetail and you may instantly get a blood trail. You may shoot these things 2 or 3 times and they may not bleed for, way down the road. So I always try to urge, and even myself, see, I made this mistake on Brad's elk, Matt. He made that shot. I knew the vicinity, but I was so bent on getting down the way and looking over the hill to try to see it, which way it go, instead of pinpointing exactly. So I try to tell everybody, listen, when you make that shot, when you make your last shot, you watch that elk till it's outside and you don't take your eyes off the last place, the last blade of grass, the last whatever. And it's so easy to do because this isn't like hunting central Kentucky. This ain't like hunting western Kentucky. This isn't hunting ag fields. This is hunting stuff that's sometimes head high or taller or waist high. So it's very important that it's a shame that you do all the work to get a shot, you make a shot. Even, I mean, you can shoot these things, double lung them, or make a real vital shot, and they can be way down the way, and you don't have nothing to go on. And if you're in an area that's got several elk, it's hard to track them. So after the shot, it's very important to be tuned in to what's going on with that particular animal. Am I right or wrong?
That's right. That's right.
You know, your hunting and stuff is so tall and so thick that, you know, down here in central Kentucky, you shoot one in a cattle pasture and you walk over there close to where you think it went, and you can see 20 feet either side of where you're looking, and you can see the blood. You know, but stuff down there is so tall and thick, if you're 2 feet away, you may never see that blood spot because you're looking through just a curtain of grass and cerisa and goldenrod and you know, honeysuckle and all that stuff. So I think a big mistake that especially new hunters is they'll shoot and they'll say, well, it went over here to the right. No, what, like you said, blade of grass did it run over? You know, and it's especially important in the elk woods.
Yeah,
it didn't just go this way. What tree did it pass when it was going that way?
Yeah,
that's
a lot of times with these elk, we're not even looking for blood when we first find like the first point of impact. We're looking for hair. Because it's like what Trendy said, it takes so long for them to start bleeding that you know, hair blowed off the back on an exit wound or something like that might be the first thing that we pick up on. So knowing right where you were at on each one of those shots really help when it comes to recovering them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell this one on myself, and you know, just because we're an outfitter don't mean we're not prone to mistakes. I'll never forget we made a shot on a bull. It's firearm season. We made a shot on a bull, and man, I love onyx. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want, and we were just talking about technology before the show. I'm not a big tech guy, but you know, some things are very handy. So I mark a lot of stuff with onyx. You know, Brad's animal, you know, we used onyx. You know, we went back to the place of the shot and we done some things, lined some things out. But on this particular day, we made the harvest. You know, the animal was laying on the side of the hill. Thankfully, I marked it on onyx, and we knew we was going to have some help. So we immediately pulled out, went and got what we needed. I think we was on the side by side. Went back to the truck, got what we needed. When we come back, I was like, I'm just going, you know, it's right here. Got back there, man. Can't find it. We would eventually find it, but thankfully, I'm like, and I refused to look at the phone because, you know, I was like, I know it's right here. And I went back to the phone, son. I was 200 yards away from where that bull was laying. And it, you know, you think an 800-pound animal laying, you know, down somewhere wouldn't be too hard. I mean, you're talking about stuff that's waist, chest high. When something falls in that, it's almost impossible to see at times.
Hey, I'll tell you this on us. You know, I had a hunter. Of course, this has been, you know, 10 years ago or whatever, but I had a hunter one time and he shot a big bull and rolled it down the side of the hill. And we watched it roll down this hill towards us, you know, after he killed it. And, of course, I mean, I knew exactly where this thing was, you know. And we just walked right straight towards where we knew it was. And we kept walking and we kept walking and we looked and we looked. And we was like, we know it didn't jump up and run away. I mean, we watched it roll down the hill and we watched it stop, you know. And we've been focused on this area and never could find the bull. And come to find out, thanks to coal mining, you know, they had this berm. And this thing had fell on its back. You know, it rolled down, landed on its back in this ditch, basically. And it swallowed up its body, its legs, its antlers, and everything. And I mean, we like to never did find that thing. And we watched it roll down the hill and walk directly to it immediately. And I mean, it took us about an hour to find that elk, and we knew exactly where it was.
Yep. There's all kinds of stories like that.
Upside down in a ditch. And I mean, it's just lucky we found it at that point.
Yeah. The other thing that's so hard to do that I really urge hunters to do, maybe somebody watching this that's hunting on their own or something, if you're in doubt of that shot, if you're not 100% sure, don't you go after that elk. You back out and you leave that. You think about how long how long should I leave this elk? Well, I should leave it this time, and you double it, or you wait till the next morning. Brad's elk. We wasn't for sure of the shot. Thankfully, with him and I together, he heard the movement on the side of the hill. We both seen where it went over, and we decided, you know what? It's late. It's going to be cool tonight. We'll back out. We'll come back in the morning. We came back the next morning. That elk went about 130, 140 yards and found the only little flat table place on the side of that mountain to bed down and died in the bed. Probably been dead maybe about 2 or 3 hours when we got to it. And everything was perfectly fine. Nothing was ruined. Had we pushed that elk, had we took over that hill that night at that, we may have been having a different story.
They'd probably been 2 miles away.
That's right. That's right. So don't ever feel like I've let them. And another thing, if you make the best of shots, you shoot one with a 300 Win Mag or a 338 Lapua or 375 H&H, and it goes out of sight. That's and I know that I've got it in the Boilermaker. That's a minimal hour. If I don't see it crash, if I don't hear it crash, I'm waiting an hour. It's just not worth it. And you're talking about pound for pound the toughest North American animal that we have. So, once again, it's awful to put in all this time, wait all this time, put in all this effort, get that shot, make the shot, all that practice, and get down to that moment. And because you're a deer hunter, or you think you know best, or you let the excitement of the moment take over and you lose that animal. I mean, that's a real shame.
Yeah. One thing I'd add to that, Trinity, is, most of these rifles and stuff that these guys are hunting with, they're capable of more than one shot. And don't quit shooting. As long as it's still presenting you a suitable shot, don't quit shooting until that animal falls.
That's right.
We've had it over and over that a guy gets out of his truck and we're walking over there and he don't have anything but the bullets in his gun. And he shoots until he runs out, and then we're 20 minutes back to the truck to get more bullets to try to put an animal down. So, pack all the bullets that you bring on your person, or let your guide pack them.
Yeah.
And don't stop shooting just because you think you put it right behind his shoulder. The more you can get in him, the more opportunity we got to recovery.
That's right. And, make sure that there's not more than one elk around. Make sure, if you're in doubt, don't shoot again. But if that elk's out there and it's clear, if it's on its feet, you need to be sending rounds down range till he's down, because that could turn a couple hour retrieve into an all day or not even a retrieve.
Exactly.
Make sure that it's the same elk. If you ain't 100% sure, don't shoot. Make sure there's not one behind it or around it. There's a lot of things that go into that, but now that's a big thing. Don't stop shooting till it's down, because it can mean the difference between harvest and not harvesting.
Yeah,
even if you knock one down, I tell everybody in our hunters meeting, the most important move is right here in rifle elk hunting. Because most of those shoots a bolt action rifle. If you shoot and that animal goes down, you're wrenched, you're back on it. How many times have we seen an elk go down and then it jumps back up? They're tough. So just if you got an outfitter, listen to them. If you're on your own, man, there'll be plenty of time to celebrate and whatever. Make sure the job's done before you get, before you kind of spoof it. What you gonna say there, Ben?
Well, when you're talking about, trying to make sure that the animal's clear. I mean, when you got if you do have a guide and you got somebody there or anybody that's out there spotting for you, don't just think in your mind that you have it all figured out. Listen to what they're trying to tell you about when to make that shot.
That's exactly right. I was just waving at some of these people here. Corey said his better half is like definitely your better half for sure. John Haley be down here to hunt with us. Who's this guy?
But he's like a troll. He's one of them guys that just sees our feed pop up and he gets on there just to give us a hard time, I think.
I sure did, Tiff. We're excited. Yeah, I think so too, man. I think he just he gets on here and he just makes the show better. We're glad to have him on here. Even though he won't, grace us with his presence, we claim him. He's still family, right? You ain't saying anything, Matt.
Yeah. I spent 10 days in Africa with him or whatever it was. So we 10, 12 days. Jill gives me a hard time because I think it was 11 days. But yeah, I always say 10 or 12. But we got to know each other a little better over that 10 or 12 days.
Yeah. I'm going to show this, something we've not really mentioned in the last little bit are our, and we're switching gears, we're talking about hunting eastern Kentucky, hunting Kentucky elk here. I got something right here that Justin sent me. It's going to take me just a second to get it on the show here, but something we've not really been talking about a whole lot are our African safaris.
Yep. Well, you not mentioned that for a while.
You need to talk to the people there a little bit about them, man. I mean, I know some of these folks are looking and have been wanting to go on an African safari. We talked to a lot of them, over the years, and I tell you, in my mind, we've got the real hookup for people to be able to make that dream come true.
So, one thing, we've talked about this and kind of been in talks about it for, a couple years. But one thing we didn't want to do was promote something that we didn't know for sure was a good quality trip. And so Jill and I, we decided that we were going to hop on a plane and go spend some time with the Tensies and see what it was all about. And so that's what we did this spring. I want everybody to know, it's not as far out of reach as a lot of people expect. It's a long plane ride. That's all there is to it. You're not going to get there unless you get on a plane and go, though. That's, if you want to go to Africa, you're going to be on a long plane ride. I promise you. But let me say this. That plane is so big and you're so high that you don't even realize that you're on a plane. You're on it for a long time, but it is not, it's smoother than driving your car down the interstate. I'll say that. Yeah. But good trip. Met some great people. Cobus over there, they go out of their way so much to take care of you. One thing about us here in Kentucky, the United States, whatever the case is, we put so much time and effort into deer hunting. And how many times have you ever sat in your stand for 4, 6, 8 hours at a time, and you may or may not see a deer? There's been plenty of times you go out there and sit 6 hours and never see one single deer. You go sit 2 hours in Africa, or you go spend 2 hours in a safari vehicle, and you've seen 30 different species. It is such a different experience than, there's never a dull moment. You always have some kind of interaction with animals. Even just watching the birds, here in Kentucky, we get to see a cardinal or a robin or a blackbird or a crow or something like that. But when you're in Africa, all those birds over there, they look like toucan Sam. They got bright colors on them. They got big, different colored beaks. It is such a different experience, and it's within reach more than most people think. So much more affordable than you think. It's not that bad of a trip. We've experienced it. We can give you all the ins and outs and help guide you through the process of getting there and really enjoying yourself. So I'll end there because I feel like I'm kind of rambling on, but it's a great trip. And I'll tell you right now, that picture right there, I'm an old redneck with an iPhone, and that picture right there was worth every minute of the trip and every dollar it cost just to get that picture right there. So it's an incredible experience.
And I'm going to tell you something. TLC and Tinsley Custom Wildlife would not put their recommendation, would not put their name on the line if it wasn't a top quality experience. I mean, look at that right there, man. That's not even pulling the trigger on anything. And that is, that is National Geographic quality right there. And then this is what Justin wanted me to show. So this was a harvest by this lady this week. The largest baboon that Justin said that they've basically seen over there. I mean, I think he said this probably around 80 pounds or something like that. Now, that don't seem like a whole lot. You take an 80-pound baboon. Hey, Matt.
Hey, it looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger with teeth. The teeth, I'm telling you, when them things are 10, 12 yards away from you, you feel like he's going to eat you. I mean, that's all there is to it. It was unnerving to be that close to one. And he knows you're there. I mean, just staring you down, open mouth, teeth hanging out, and like built like Mike Tyson. I'm just telling you, it was an unnerving couple of minutes.
Just thinking you're going to bite, thinking he's going to jump in the blind with you, huh?
Well, and the guide will tell you, hey, we're gonna let's check this blind out and make sure it's in good shape. Well, what do you mean make sure it's in good shape? I almost wanted him to tell me there was going to be a black mamba in there or something like that, but he's like, no. He said, those baboons, they know that these blinds are a danger, and they'll get in these blinds and destroy them. And I'm like, so now this thing's 12 yards away from us and staring at us with his mouth open, teeth hanging out, looking like Mike Tyson. And the only thing going through my mind is that thing's coming in this blind. So, it's fun.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. That is awesome.
Man, did you take a rifle or did the outfitter provide a rifle?
So Justin took 2 rifles over, but and I think this was their 3rd or 4th trip over there. Jill and I, we don't fly a lot, and we've never flown with rifles. So one thing that we wanted to do was we wanted it to be a true vacation for us, to where we weren't uptight about everything. We weren't on a schedule about everything. And so the last thing I wanted to do was start taking rifles and screw the paperwork up or not get to customs in time to get my rifle or, whatever the case is. So Justin was more comfortable with it because they had been several times. And so he took his rifle. We got to see that whole process of checking your firearms with customs and this and that. But actually, Jill and I rented a rifle off of the outfitter.
Okay.
And when you talk money wise, it's not a big difference whether you take one or you rent one. But we weren't shooting any. I'll call it big. We weren't shooting rhinoceros, or we weren't shooting hippopotamus, or we weren't shooting Cape buffalo. And so everything we shot, I shot a 308 Winchester, and she shot a 7mm Mauser. So I can shoot anybody's deer rifle.
Yeah, that's right.
You put a bolt action deer rifle in my hand, I feel pretty good about it. So we didn't worry about taking anything. We just rented when we got over there.
Speaking of Cape Buffalo, right there they are.
And we had some close encounters with them too.
Awesome, man.
I asked them, they chased us all the way back to the lodge one night, I believe.
Yeah. Jill said, and we eat good, right, Justin Tinsley? Justin says Matt did. It had been eating as much as Matt has. Talking about that baboon. Jimmy
Good
says, what's going on, Justin Tinsley?
Oh, practice, we'll walk you through.
Gator Paul says, can anything eat as much as Matt?
Paul! I don't think Paul's even ever seen me eat.
Your better half says Paul Sharon, no. Hey, we got a question about elk right here. Folks, if you want to know more about South African safaris, drop us a line. I'm telling you right now, if you want this, and I know what people think, it's a lot of money, it's this and that. It's more bang for your buck than you can ever imagine, and it's more achievable than you could ever imagine. And TLC and Tinsley Custom Wildlife has taken all the worry, all the stress of not knowing. You've got people right here that can tell you anything and everything about it and cure all of your fears. If you're looking for a South African safari, give TLC a call or an email today.
Hey, one other thing, and I think maybe some people don't realize this. For this particular outfitter, okay, they will book a big group if that's what you take with you, but it's going to be your group. So it was me and Jill, Justin and Christy. That was the only 4 people in camp all week.
Wow.
And they roll out the red carpet, mister.
Okay. If it had just been me and Jill, we would have been the only ones in camp all week. Yeah. If we wanted to take the whole TLC crew over there and there was 15 guys rolled in, then there'd be 15 guys there. But there wouldn't be us and another group that we never met before. Yeah. So it's a true experience to where they really take care of you and make you feel special. They don't call it a vacation, they call it holiday. You're on holiday. And the fact is that it was probably, all the travel, all the being out of the country and out of your comfort zone, it was probably the most relaxing 10 or 12 days that I've ever had in my life. And that's no joke. I mean, you almost wake up when you want to, go hunting when you want to, eat all the time. I mean, you eat so much, you
Right, here you go, Matt Woolwine. I'm ready to go back, Matt. Hint, hint. That's your better half right there, buddy.
Yep.
That's your better half. Hey, we got Ben. I'm gonna let you answer this. We got a question right here from one of our incoming hunters. Says a question about gear to pack for second week rifle, like clothing wise. What would you have to talk to them about, Ben? What would you say?
Well, wait to see what the weather's going to be for one. We've got. I mean, some years in second week rifle, some years in first week. I mean, we got blowing snow and sleet, and then here it seems like the last it's been trending. It's been trending to the warm, more so than it used to. Seems like so. I would suggest to wait a week out and wait for the weather and just make sure that you got a pair of boots that you're comfortable in. That's the big thing, and pack extra socks to change your socks throughout the day because they're probably going to be a lot of walking, and and then as far as gear goes, just make sure we don't stop when it rains. So frog togs or some sort of rain gear is always important. But as far as bundling up or anything, you just kind of have to wait for the weather on that.
Shooting sticks, binos, rangefinder, and make sure you got plenty of hang tags printed out. So
And plenty of ammo.
and plenty of ammo.
Don't bring 5 bullets.
Don't come down here like Matt does, like Barney Fife, and bring 1 bullet in your pocket. That won't work.
I almost never shoot though.
I heard that. That's a good way to either bat. That's either a good way to have a good percentage, bat real good, or just have an excuse. Oh man, Gator Paul, Trinity, you and Matt want pork or venison? I'm doing some smoked sausage for your trip down here.
I mean, it's a hard choice, Paul.
You surprise us, Paul. Anything you crank out down there, man. Gator Paul down there, Shearer's Processing. If you are around Inglis, Florida, even if you're somewhere else, you need to go check out Gator Paul for all your processing needs right there in Florida. Also, I seen him on here earlier. We've been playing phone tag. Captain Justin Diamond and Florida Bow Fishing. I'm telling you right now, Florida Bow Fishing Adventures, Matt and I are going to hook up with him also while we're down there. Phenomenal experience going out in the Gulf, going to be bow fishing after hopefully some sheep's head and some black drum and whatever else Matt can get an arrow in. But we're going to be heading down and doing that. We're going to be gator hunting with Wayne and Scott and all those guys going to be going down and hunting iguanas and peacock bass fishing, man. I'll tell you what, I cannot wait, Gator Paul, to get to Florida, man. Y'all are family. Y'all have rolled out the red carpet for us, and I hope everybody listening is jealous as all get out because I just can't wait to get down there.
I want one of them big stingrays, man. I'm so jealous of his Facebook feeds, and he's all time posting them stingrays that are the size of car hoods.
Yep. Nate, our very own Nate Gerald says, hope we keep getting these cool fronts. Man, I hope you're right. I'd like to see it snowing. I wish it'd drop off to about 40, about 48 during the day and get a little bit of snow at night or something there, Nate. That would be fantastic. Gator Paul, we can't wait to get down there, man. Guys, what an awesome show, man. I appreciate you two very much. Appreciate your knowledge. Thank you for your dedication. And, man, I'm excited for week 1 bull firearm. It's going to be good stuff.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Not to drag it out any longer, but another thing there when that guy was talking about his gear bag there, I always found that zip ties and zip ties and game bags is something that you need to bring. Those zip ties, especially if you got warm weather. After you get the elk gutted and stuff there, you can pack those elk with ice and zip tie their belly back up and really cool them down. That's something that I always try to do. So bring in some good hefty zip ties and game bags in case we have to quarter it to take care of your meat there. That's something that I'd probably bring too.
Yep. Very good. Very good. Guys, I appreciate y'all. We thank you all for tuning in on Iron Outdoors. Hope that y'all can get out and enjoy the great outdoors. I tell you what, man, it's that magic time. We had just had first day of fall. You can feel that. You feel that change in the air. Got a lot of things coming up in October. If you're an outdoorsman or outdoors lady, October is a magic time for everybody. So y'all stay tuned. Make sure you go over and check us out on YouTube. TLC Outfitters 1, also Wolf Pen Hunt Club. If you want to see that awesome hunt that Ben Moore had harvesting that nice 8-point. Go over and check out Wolf Pen Hunt Club, TLC Outfitters 1. It is phenomenal. Matt, what you got there, buddy? You got a
That's a snake.
or what's so
Old Punk here. She hears us talking. There he is.
there she
Hey,
is.
she's growling at you right now.
Looks like a rattlesnake tail.
That's the devil cat. Man, I was down there Sunday, man, and I thought the inside cat was bad. The outside cat reached up, son, and bit me on the backside. I don't know what he's doing to them cats. Yeah. Jim Gardner said, great show, fellas. A hard wait until weekend. I know, man. We are excited. I don't know what my mama's coming on here doing. Said someone has a birthday the 1st of October. I don't know who she's talking about, but
Yep.
can't tell. I'm 29, son. What y'all laughing about?
That's like 15 years ago.
Yeah, shut your mouth. All right, folks, that's it for us. Hope y'all have a great week. Remember, if you want to know the creator, just look at the creation. And I'll tell you what, the things in Eastern Kentucky and all throughout the great Commonwealth are splendorous, and we're very thankful and blessed. Check us out each and every week right here at 8 o'clock next Tuesday on Air and Outdoors. Hopefully, we'll be having some harvest picks for you. And if anything comes up, we're still in the woods or we're hunting or whatever else, and you never know when the next lady show or Matt may have to fly solo. We never know, but we'll sure bring it to you. Be sure to stay tuned all weekend to our Facebook page, as we'll be posting updates and everything, and we appreciate you very much. We'll see you right here next week on Air and Outdoors with TLC Outfitters. Y'all have a good one.
Eastern Kentucky, where I was raised, where the wildlife and mountains call my name. I was born to hunt, I was born to guide, a camouflage on a rifle by my side. Just good old country boys chasing dreams in the Appalachian Mountains, field of trees. From those white-tailed bucks strutting toms, the bugling elks are on the run. Where those dreams are made, the trophies is our game. The TLC Outfitters is our name.